Okay, so ignore the dogs if you hear the dogs in the background. A sibling is here and they don't know how to act when he here. So, I had to say I had to get this message out and I couldn't wait because I have ADHD, I have ADHD, and if I don't get it out now, girl, go, girl. Hold on, let me put some Vaseline on my lips real quick. Because I'm watching this YouTuber, um, and they were talking about, demons or whatever, right? Oh, shit. Hold on. So, they were talking about demons and shit, right? And there was like I didn't know because like demons the demons they fight, they're not talking about like the demons we know, right? They're talking about lower level demons. Um and like this is accurate too, like because demons aren't, I mean, yes, demons are an actual thing, they are an actual archetype. But remember what I said in my last video where like it doesn't matter necessarily because anybody can be a demon because it's about frequency. Even if you're a fairy or a unicorn or a dragon or a human, anybody can be a demon or an angel. Anybody be can technically a demon because demon is a frequency, right? It's a frequency that you can embody, and if you can embody and hold that permanently, then yeah, you'll be officially classified as a demon. So when he was talking about demons, he was talking about stuff like that too, in the sense of like fairies, witches, monsters, etc. But he's a demon hunter, right? So he fight lower level demons or whatever. I mean, I guess some are high ranking too. Like, of course, you got like archons that can be considered demons. You have like Anunnaki or reptilians or greys that can be considered demons. But he fight beings like that. Excuse me, like that too. Whatever. Sorry, just trying to give it a little backstory. So he does all that, but he said he didn't know that these demons could have dominion. And of course, we knew that, right? As Satanists and like dark beings over here, we knew that. But for him, because he goes to the etheric plane, we know the etheric plane is the closest to the physical plane, right? And that's where, like, though I guess those beings, right, habitate. But I think that's where a lot of I feel like, because of course we know the astral plane, each plane has levels and layers to it. So I think he goes to the lower levels of the etheric because I've been to the higher levels of the etheric. Oh my god, I guess I can talk about my dream too. Um, to where like I didn't really face any like monsters or anybody attacking me, but I was around succubus, right? But I'm gonna get to that later. So remember, I don't know what I'm telling this video, but remember your etheric dream that you just had about succubus and masturbation. So what I'm gonna tell this video, um, the more you go within, the more real you become. Plus my demon sex dream on the etheric girl. I don't fucking know. Anyways, y'all can get something. Um, adventures on the etheric plane. Because he didn't know that when I mean lower, because the reason why he didn't know demons, right? Because a lot of people see demons as less, right? A lot of people see demons as less, like they're not powerful, they're not this, that, and that can be applied to any being, though, right? Um, that's especially in the lower planes, that can be applied to any being, not just demons. But people just have this weird. They're racist towards demons. So I'm just gonna say a lot of people are racist towards demons and monsters and lower, denser beings. So but he didn't know that these beings could have dominion, right? And I'm like, of course you didn't, because the way you talk about demons lets me know everything I need to know. The way you talk about monsters in the underworld lets me, and the infernal let me know what I need to know. Because people don't realize that when you go deeper in the dream, when you go lower, deeper equals lower. When you go lower in the dream, when you go deeper in the dream, you become denser and more physical, right? When you become more physical and more real, you become more defined. You become more undeniable, more true, more real, more authentic. Because when you go deeper into the dream, when you go down lower in density, you're actually not going lower. You're going within, right? So this is, if you want to call source Sakate or the void, think of that as the body. We are the awareness, the conscious awareness that asks, what am I? What am I? What if? And how can you find that answer, y'all? We go within. When we want to know or more about ourselves and we want to explore more, we go within ourselves. If everything is the body and we are within the body, you individually, me individually, if we are in the body, it's just dreamception. If we are in the body of the dreamer, dreaming itself, What does that mean? There is nothing outside of us. There is nothing below us. There is nothing above us. There is only stuff within us, right? So we just go deeper and deeper and deeper. When we go deeper into the dream, we're just going deeper into ourselves. When we go lower in the dream, we're just getting closer to ourselves. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And it just constantly just plays in on that dreamception, dreamception, dreamception. So he didn't realize that lesser beings can be just as powerful as higher beings because we all think. Now, I used to be like this too. Obviously, I'm not anymore, but we all think that lesser means lower means lesser, and lesser equals less potent, less powerful, weaker, right? But actually, lower means more true, more denser. Go back to my video where I said the void plus source is just as dreamy as the physical. And actually, there is another, I'll put it up here. There's another video I have where I talk about the. No, I didn't title it that. Because I was gonna say I titled the universe as a hot pocket, but that's not what I titled it. I talked about a hot pocket in that video because the universe is essentially a hot pocket. The cosmos, source, Hakate, the void, they're a hot pocket, and we're in it, right? The inside defines the hot pocket just as much as the outside is defining the hot pocket. Hell, even more because when you think of a hot pocket, you're really thinking about what's inside the hot pocket, not worried about the crust at all, for the most part. So let me see the video. Okay, yeah, the void plus source is just as physical as it is dreamy. And I said it's all convoluted up there as it is down here. Yeah, go watch those two videos and you will see what the fuck I'm talking about because they apply here too. Because it's all convoluted, y'all. And when you go lower, you're getting more physical, more real. How in the hell does being more real mean you're less? You're less powerful, less potent. You do realize being more real means you're able to hold that potency, that power, that density so much so. Just oh my god, there's another video. You hold that intensity so much so you become an undeniable force. Just like that video that I titled talking about source. What did I title it? I think it's here it is. Oh yeah, the true source. Go watch that download. It's a raw download. Go watch that. The true source. And I want to say there's another one too. True source. Go watch. I'll put the videos up here. Go watch the true source video. Go watch the true imagination video. There's where is it? Where is it? Hold on. I'm on my page looking. Ironically. Um. I thought I had another one, but no. Go watch those videos. Go watch. I will even suggest the Hakate and Source are Twins video. Go watch. It's all convoluted up there as it is down here. And the void plus source is just as dreamy. Just as physical as it is dreamy. All those videos will let you know essentially what I'm talking about. And it will make sense to and it applies to what I'm talking about, right? Because just like how I said source, which I call my sibling pure imagination or pure imaginary light, they are and same with Hakate, which is mommy. Hakate and source, they are the desires of the void. We all came from the void, right? And I gotta make a video. I guess I can make a video about this where everybody's everybody's is created equally but not forged the same. And we all may have one origin point, but we all have one absolute origin point, yes, because even if you came from a source, excuse me, or Hakate, or if you was created within the dream itself, ultimately it links back to the void. But this is why I say, but that equates to everybody being created equally. Now, when I say everybody isn't forged equally, now some people are born from Akate, some people are born from Source, some people are born from the void, some people are born from the void, some people are born within a dream, some people are born from beings in lower realms from within the dream. You know what I'm saying? Some people are born from beings outside the dream, but that might not be necessarily in the void per se, right? And this is why I say everybody's forged differently because the origin point, there's an absolute origin point, yes, but our origin story is completely different, right? So everyone's origin point isn't the same. Some people aren't born from source, and that's just it is what it is, right? My origin point is not from source. Some people's origin point might be from Akate. My origin point is from the void itself, right? Because I don't know if I talked about this in my dark occultist playlist, but I do have. I think I talked about it in some of my clip art videos, like briefly. But I also talked about it in a video diary, where I talked about it in What the Fuck Have I Been Up To? Chimera, Food, Sex, Magic, Soul. It was a little update video, so go watch that one too. I'll put all my videos and I'm gonna leave them on the screen for a good minute so y'all can see. But in my one of my video diaries, where is it? Video diaries. But in one of my video diaries, I talk about being a chimera, right? Because I learned that I was a chimera being. But that also led me to understand that Belial came to me in the throne room and told me my origin point. He said, this is when I was doing stuff like in my dreams, whatever. He was like, they'll recognize you. Oh, it's in my
So I was
dream.
gonna say real quick.
Oh, I have a whole playlist of this. I forgot I have a playlist, y'all. I have a Being a Chimera playlist, which I'm going to add more into that. But I'll have 3 episodes up now. But one of it is the update video. But that also applies to what I'm saying here. Because that was how I realized. And like this is how y'all, me coming to this conclusion did not happen overnight. It took years to finally get here. And to be technical, it took most of my life. But we're not talk about that. I'm not gonna talk about that. But Belial told me they'll recognize you because your origin is similar to that of Source, right? And if you go back to my video where I channeled the time I channeled 9+ beings, pure imagination, which y'all will call Source, came to me unprovoked. By the way, the little asshole, unprovoked, twice, during that channeling. So yeah, I'm recommending a lot of videos. Sorry. Um to keep up with. It's a lot. I'm a spiral. I get it. I'm a chaos kid. Chaos queen. So yeah. Where I talked about how Source, right? Source and Hecate, they are the seed of the void of their imagination. They are imagine the void, right? I said everybody's a kid, right, including the void. Imagine a kid with who wanted to know itself, right, so deeply, so profoundly. It created all his wishes. It created all of its purest imaginary self, right? All this pure imagination, right? And it took the shape of, light or Hecate, which is darkness, right? And in my Hecate playlist, I do have a video talking about Hecate, obviously, and how they came to me. And also the time I showed 9 beings, I'll talk about how Hecate looked to me as well. And so go watch those as well. Um, yeah, imagine a being just pushing all of that out. There's a clip, and I know it kind of might not make absolute sense quite exactly. But there's a clip from Star versus the Forces of Evil. Star versus Meteora. Because this would be a good little reflection of like how it looks. In
New
my
year, new
imagination,
styles, and new deals now at your local Ashley outlet, starting at just $2.99.
sorry about that. In my imagination, this is how it looks. I'm gonna add this in the fucking video. Look, because Star was getting her ass kicked, right? And she tried to use her last resort spell. But this is how I imagine the void producing pure imagination, which is Source and Hecate. Because, like I said, imagine having all of those wishes, wants, hopes, and desires, all of your imagination that your imagination could manifest, and you just project all of that out. That's how people see Source as light, right? And even Hecate came to me as light surrounded by shadow magic. But yeah, because that's to show you the light is in the darkness. The light is in the darkness, and the darkness is in the light. They play on each other. So that's why I say watch my Hecate and Source of Twins. But look at this little clip right here. Let me show this little clip.
You're right! I can't! So you want my power? Take
Boom. That's how it looks in my imagination. Not as star necessarily, but star is the closest representation of how it literally looks. Because I don't see star, I see the void doing that. But yeah, so just imagine all of that just raw imaginary magic of manifestation and wanting and longing and desire being manifest and as Hecate and source, right? Because that they're both Hecate, I call pure dark imagination, and Source pure light imagination, right? They're pure because they're the purest, absolutist form of themselves, right? Of the desires of the void, which I call truest imagination, right? Because that's the true form. Imagination, truest form is absolute void. But let's not forget that the void is also a rainbow. If the void can produce light, and if light projects every color, that means the void not only projects every color, but it has every color inside of it. So let's not get it twisted, because the darkness is not as dark as you think, but it is at the same time. That's the convoluted nature of everything, right? So yeah, I'm glad y'all seen that scene, because that's how it literally looks. And when they decided to do that, but keep in mind, this is all happening inside the void. This isn't separate from the void. None of this is separate from the void. This is not happening above the void, outside the void, below the void, beneath the void, around the void. This is all happening within the void, which is you. Like I said, imagine you as a hot pocket, right? All those ingredients are happening inside of you. The only thing that's outside of you is probably maybe a garlic crust, and that's it. But that's just you. That's just your skin. Your extra loose foreskin. That's all that is. But all what's happening, the juices, the marinade, the flavor, the seasoning, is all happening inside the hot pocket, which is you. We are inside the hot pocket, inside the hot pocket, inside the hot pocket, within the hot pocket, as the hot pocket. You understand what I'm saying? And for you to find in every show, every movie, every video game, every spiritual lesson tells us to gain our power, what do? We go within. We don't go without, because everything is literally. I mean, because I'm ADHD, I take everything's very fucking literally. Literally, everything is literally inside of you, right? It literally is inside of you. Oh, Jalaic. Okay, okay, period. So that means I have free time today. Okay, sorry y'all. That was a little side note. That was some real world stuff I was talking about out there. Anyways, what were we talking about? So shut up. Sorry, I just got a message saying they're picking up the baby today. So it's like, yes, I got free time. I guess I could have gave that context. Sorry. Um, but yeah. So everything is literally happening inside of you. And the reason why, and this goes back into why people think being on the lower planes is stupid, it's lesser, it's beneath you, right? That's why we get a lot of people that have spiritual bypass. They see it as beneath you, but that's the realest part of you, right? That's the realest part of you, right? The potent, the purest part of you, right? When you go, and this is what I say, when it's all happening inside of you. So it's all happening inside of you. Going lower just means going more inward. How can me going more inward be lesser than me not even touching the surface of who I am? Or barely touching it? When the void, my truest sibling, truest dreamer, the first dreamer, the bound dream, when they decided to understand and gain mastery of themselves, there is literally no other place to go but in. That's the only true direction. That's the only true direction, right? Notice I didn't say absolute, because with the higher you go up, there aren't any absolutes. Everything, the word absolute even diminishes, right? But that's why everything is also subjective. It's so convoluted. I'm sorry. It just gets to the point where it's just such a mush, a mesh. It becomes a big blob of slob, and you know what ingredient is what, and it's just all ingredients at the same time, and then it's like it cancels that out as well. But yeah. So going lower equals going inward, because going lower is truly going inward. That's why when we go to the physical plane, right, the lower realms, we discover and uncover new aspects of ourselves. And I said this out loud that because I talk a lot. I talk out loud a lot. I was saying that before I fell into the dream, I didn't even do that.
What's going on,
Oh
guys?
my god!
Thank
Before I fell into the, I'm kind of pissed because what the fuck would that even happen? Sorry y'all. Before I fell into the dream, I know for a fact that I was not the same person as I am now that I'm in the dream. I would have never thought of doing some of the things now than I would have later. Let me get off the screen. Actually, I can stay on the screen. I would have never thought of doing some of the things now than I would never thought of doing some of the things now had I not come down here and experienced myself more internally. Y'all, working with embodying the clip off and connecting back into my monster underworld demonic family, I realized what and who I am so much. And no, you don't have to literally connect with demons or underworld monsters necessarily. Do what's perfectly right for you. I'm using those as an example to reflect back to density, right? Because those beings are denser. Out of every other beings, they are the densest beings, right? Underworld, infernal beings, right? They're denser. Just like humans are denser. I have this little theory, which I don't think is a theory anymore, why humans always seek help from demons when getting into magic, when wanting some personal gain or this and that. Is because the physical realm is the most personal realm. Demons and the physical realm are the most personal realms, right? Well, the only realm that's more personal than a demon realm would be the human realm, but not more as in like better or elite, but the demon realm, the underworld realm, and the physical realm both literally reflect each other. And now I'm starting to realize why people say we're born into sin. It's not because we're born into quote unquote sin as the Bible says it, but it's because that the infernal slash demonic realms are our closest family, to where they mesh the most together. Because think of the demon realm or the underworld realm as the etheric realm, and the human realm as the physical realm. The etheric realm is literally the one that's right beside the physical realm. You have your physical body, and then after your physical body is the etheric body. Or you can say before your physical body. Before your physical body, right before the physical body becomes physical, you have the etheric body. The physical body, the etheric body, both have sensory feelings, right? They feel intensely. They really feel like the food they eat, right? Of course, in higher realms, you eat food too and stuff like that. You can if you want to. But the physical realm, that's why a lot of monsters eat. That's why a lot of demons and monsters eat meat, and they're predators, because just like humans, that's raw. Being a predator, eating meat is raw. It's real. It's honest. So honest, it's true, and it hurts, and it's undeniable. That's why demons are masters of pain, and humans are all. I would say humans are masters. And oh my god, humans and demons are both masters of pains. They reflect it differently though. They reflect each other differently, right? Um, should I get into it? I don't know. Like, humans are masters of like complex pain, right? Complex pain. And I would say not humans, demons are masters of complex suffering, right? Two different processes, two different things, but they are of the same vine, of the same tree. You know what I'm saying? They're of the same tree. They're intense. Both of those, suffering and pain. Humans, complex pain. Demons, complex suffering. Right? Get those two together. That's why, and because literally everything is symbolic and literal at the same time. The planet, right? You have the planet. We are on the physical, right? We're on the crust. What's right below us? The underworld. Humans are more tied to the underworld, to the demonic realms, than they realize. Once again, you do not have to talk to demons or monsters or underworld beings, creatures, whatever, to fully embody that truth, right? You don't, but you can. But you could just study this, or you could just channel this, right, to hold that truth. But you have to be open to it, obviously. But you don't have to do any of that. But that goes back into what I was saying about that dude's video about being a demon hunter. Oh, I didn't say about my other theory. Wait, did I speak about the theory that humans and demons are close? Oh yeah, humans and demons just mirror each other's complex pain and suffering, right? Pain and suffering are literally the same thing. They run in the same circle, right? They mirror each other. And should I talk about my sex dream? I think I'm gonna talk about that in the video. I don't know. We'll see. Because this video is already fucking long. Let's see how long this is. We're at 25 minutes in. I probably can get in there real quick. But yeah, demons and humans are closer. That's why people go to demons. It's more easier. It's like, why do people always think like demons are this they'll the personal gain and yes, you have to suffer and cause pain. And I think there's just a misunderstanding of the archetype of a demon and the archetype of a human. Both are personal. Demons and humans are very personal, right? Monsters are very personal. The underworld is very personal. So yes, they're right. Personal gain, that makes sense because demons teach that. Because demons and monsters, underworld beings, are beings that literally are designed to have free will just like humans. But their free will is different because demons and monsters represent complex suffering. So they have sovereignty, and that's why they have agency, and that's why they can just do quote unquote whatever they want to because they can, because they're operating within their function. So they can do everything, and their function is complex suffering. So yes, demons can kill, can trick, can cause pain, can even corrupt a soul because that's their dominion. Because what was I about to say? The dog started barking and kind of threw me off. But that's their dominion. And humans are also personal gain creatures because the human experience is what? Very personal. When you go lower into density, you're going deeper into yourself. You're becoming more what? Personal. More potent, right? Demons and humans are the most potent beings ever, right? Because they're both personal. And you got the personal human experience coupled with demons teaching you personal spiritual sovereignty. Demon slash underworld monsters teaching you personal spiritual sovereignty. If they teach you sovereignty, being fully embodied as yourself, and if the human experience itself is literally being fully embodied in the human experience, in the physical experience, they both are teaching you the same lesson, but at different different aspects of that lesson that are both needed. Humans teach one half, the monsters and demons teach the other. And that's why we say, well, that's why I say you integrate your demons. You don't fight them, you don't conquer them. You love your monsters, you love your demons because they are the most personal parts of you. And going back to them being the more primal, personal, primeval, primordial. Demons and humans embody that truth intensely, so intense that it's real, so intense that it's personal. And when you go down in density, you're not going down, you're going more within, and being more within is where your power resides. Where else is the magical child going to sleep? Inside. You access your power by going within, not going without. We understand that, right? That's why the darkness, the evilness is the most powerful force. The imaginary evil is the most powerful force because you are deciding to be so fucking potent that it hurts, that you suffer. Think about it. That's why you can be on the lower realms and have just as much power as the gods, right? There's a story. I might include it here if I can find it on TikTok about Cersei and how she was just a essentially a regular goddess, right? They treated her like a mortal though. She was a goddess, but they treated her like a mortal, which I say she was a goddess, but a god being. But she didn't have anything special, so they you know how families are. If you ain't special in their eyes, if you aren't immediately special, they want to, you know what I'm saying, cash you out to the sea, whatever. But she was thriving, girl was thriving. But she ended up proving herself and became one with the gods. But yeah, I'm gonna try to include that little story here. Remind myself to do that. But I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something, but I think that was it for that. But I guess I gotta talk about my dreams. So I also, cause I don't know, should I make this into a video or should I make its own separate video? Because what I'm gonna title this video, going lesser, going lower in density equals going more within, plus being, plus masturbation and etheric dreams. I feel like that could be a title. I can make that a title. Okay, sorry y'all. Um, so yeah, so there was a few nights ago, right? Because I told y'all I've been getting into sex magic, right? I've been doing sex magic, really embodying that, and of course I'm going through the clip off too. But so one night I was masturbating, right? This was like the past 4 days, from the moment. Well, this happened like 14 days, no, 7 days ago, where consecutively, back to back to back. Well, like 10 days ago. I don't know. I'm bad with like dates and time, but this happened a little minute ago, where I was like 4 days back to back to back, where I was just masturbating intensely, right? I was so in the moment. I was so embodied. Nothing else mattered. It literally felt like just me and my computer screen, right? And I was just, doing my dirty talk in my mind, and I was just really projecting and feeling that energy. And I was doing that for 4 days straight, right? And I would masturbate like 4 times back to back to back. Sometimes three. Well, typically, yeah, but sometimes three. One time it was five. Just back to back to back in one day. Um, but then I remember I dozed off a little bit. I ended up in the etheric plane, right? And one part was, and I already knew that I had incubi and succubi around me. Like, I know that. Because I would even say it a lot when I masturbate. Oh, I know they feeding off this. They loving this. Because the succubi and incubi are my family too. And I want to learn from them as well. Eventually I am. I said the next time I will. This was just a fun little experience that I had with them the first time, like actively being around it. So the first dream actually was I was in this little room, and there was this guy with this cute, oh, so sexy, um, Asian boy, and he had a huge fucking dick, and we were all in this room together. It was like we were in. I don't know what kind of room we're in, but we're in a room. It was like a bunch of us, and we were just looking at stuff, kind of like how when people kind of like do a house tour. It was kind of giving that. Um, but this Asian dude, right? And when it was time out, and while I was in there, there was that dude, and then there was this one girl. And I'm using dude and girl loosely because ultimately these beings are androgynous, but that's the form they were, I guess, trying to appeal to be as. But like I said, when I masturbate, I dirty talk at the same time, and I be saying some fucking crazy shit, right? And um so this girl was there, right? So the girl, I guess she kept following me around, but I wasn't aware of it fully. But there was this being around me, which I think was Osmodeus. There was this being around me, right? And they were showing me, they were like, hey, look, hey, look. They were showing me that the girl, everywhere I moved, that the girl will follow me. Keep in mind, this is not my first time having encounters with incubi or succubi. I've actually had multiple encounters with them, and I talked about it in one of my videos. Well, I'm pretty sure it's in my darker cultist playlist. One of those videos I'll talk about it briefly, where I never had an issue with succubi or incubi. Even when they're in my dreams, they respected my boundaries. Because especially when I wasn't healed and I didn't have any trauma integrated. Well, I gotta make a video about trauma. I didn't have any trauma integrated, and I wasn't in touch with myself, and I just kept touching myself and draining myself. When I was like that, they would be around me too. Not a lot. I would see them. It would be like so sparingly. But the three times that I've seen them, they were around me, and each time, um, they respected my boundaries. They would literally ask, or they would do it in a playful way, and I would playfully. Because one time we were on the bed jumping, and my boner was fucking huge. Right, it would put a horse to shame. But we were jumping and we were playing, and it was trying to touch my boner playfully, and I was like, no, no, stop, I'm sensitive, and it stopped. The other two times, I told it no, and I wasn't being rude, and I wasn't really assertive. I was like, no. I was like, no, and they stopped, and I woke up from my dream just fine. All three dreams, they respected my sovereignty, right, my boundaries, and I don't know why so many people. We gotta make a video about that. Why so many people get caught up and talk about incubi. I think there's I don't know why, because even when I was still like masturbating unhealthy, I still had that boundary of no, I don't want to be touched. Maybe because I'm hypersexual and asexual at the same time. Maybe that might have something to do with it. I don't know. But um, anyways, but we were in this house, and of course the dude had a big erection. He was naked. He just had a shirt on, like a soccer shirt on, and he was naked. And we were getting to leave to go to another floor because I'm assuming it's Osmodeus. I'm gonna say Osmodeus because that's what it seemed like. Because they were like, look, 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 showing me that the girl kept following me everywhere I went. So as we were about to go down to the lower levels, the dude, half the party went outside. They still remained on the same level, but they went outside, and the other half went downstairs. And the dude was in the second party, and he was as he was leaving, going outside, he was coming, and all I did was just look. It didn't tempt me or anything. I don't know what it is. It's just like I wasn't. I'm just. I don't know. It's like, yeah, a freak. Yeah, I can masturbate 4 times a day and be fine. But that don't mean at the same time. Like I said, I'm hypersexual as fuck when I'm in the moment. But when I'm done being hypersexual, I'm done. Like I don't care. I'm not. I don't get aroused. Like I only get aroused if I'm in that moment, type shit. So and I wasn't. I guess in the mood. So I wasn't in the mood. So I guess that goes back to me being asexual because being asexual is just completely. It's like two extreme, stark differences. They are both opposites, complete opposites of each other. So went downstairs and the girl kept. I would move and the girl kept following me. Oh, excuse me. She kept following me. But she wouldn't follow me right away. She'll probably wait a few moments and then try to like subtly follow me, but pretend she was on her phone. And the next dream I had was I was in the etheric plane, but I was in this it seemed like a hotel, not a hotel, a penthouse. I was in this penthouse, and the penthouse actually kept changing a few times. One time it was with this mom. She was doing something upstairs, and this kid was doing something, coloring or something. And I remember seeing that, and I remember seeing the penthouse just change, and nobody was in it. And then I remember seeing the penthouse change again, but there was this other sex spirit. But this time they were like more bigger, like they were big, more plump, and they came up to me and were like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to see you. I just love you." At first, I was like, like that one aunt. I equated it to that little kid meeting that one aunt that just can't stop pinching their cheeks or kissing on them and hugging them and being so aggressive in that way, right? So they were coming off like that, and at first I was like, I rolled because I was on the floor sitting down. I rolled on my back. I was first like pushing them away, but then I allowed them to hug me. They hugged me 3 times, right? They was hugging me the first time. They were hugging me, and they kept saying, "Oh my god, I just love you so much. Oh my god, I just love you so much. Oh my god, I just can't get enough of you." And of course you can't, right? Because I can imagine the energy I was emitting. And after that third time, I just completely turned off my emotions, and I think I equated that I equated that to the asexual side of me. But because I would just turn off my emotions, right? My feelings, I completely just turned it off. Because I was hoping if I did that, they'll stop hugging me. They didn't, so they tried to go back for round 4, and I said no, and I blasted them off. I blasted them like Wanda did, Mo- like Wanda did Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. I blasted them like this. Hold up, let me go and search the video up. Wanda, I'm not pausing the video, so this is gonna stay in it. So you gonna have to get over that. WandaVision, One Wanda blast Monica. Here it is.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
James E. Woo.
Shut up, motherfucker. Look, like this.
Wanda, I'm just your neighbor. And how did you know about Ultron? You're not my neighbor. And you're definitely not my friend. You are a stranger and an outsider. And right now you are trespassing here. And I want you to leave.
That's how I blasted my girl, right? Because she wouldn't stop hugging me. So I said, no. Plus, y'all know I'm autistic and ADHD. So I get very overstimulated. And I can just randomly crash out for like a quick burst of a second. I don't mean to, it just happens. This is how my nervous system regulates itself. So I shot her away. And then the next scene happened where I was outside. It was daytime. We were like almost at this little park or whatever. And there were streets and there was like other buildings around us. But we were in this little park. It was daytime. It was like a little festival, it felt like. A lot of people around. We were chilling. I was sitting on the hill of the park and I was rolling around in the grass. And then it quickly became night and the day people left and then the night people came. So it felt like a nighttime type of vibe. And I remember being on the ground and I was saying, see, I like this type of day where it's just like, well, this type of night where it's just like chill like this. People are around and we're just vibing. You're not really being bothered, but you can talk to anybody type shit, right? And I remember looking up at the moon and the moon started, it had a crescent moon, but not on the sides, but at the bottom of itself. And then I was imagining, oh, it reminds me of the Cheshire Cat smile. And then it had those glowing red eyes, like a Cheshire cat. So the moon looked like a Cheshire cat because I thought about it, and because it reminded me of that. Of course, this is still my etheric dream, so of course I'm gonna still have some type of effect on it. And then I remember these group of people. They were walking past me, right? Some of them I remember. Some of them took the form of the archetypes of the people that I've experienced in this life, and some of them were people I've never experienced before. So there was just a group of people just walking past me, whatever. And of course, I thought this one light skinned dude was just so cute. He was wearing all brown too, brown and like a light brown pants. Like he looked so good. But I remember they were walking past me, and then I remember as they walked past me, I looked at the moon again, and it was on the ground closer to me, and it didn't have the Cheshire Cat eyes, but the moon had the biggest Cheshire Cat grin on it. So, and I was trying to give the moon eyes, but I couldn't. But I got up. But that moon falling was representing of the facade falling, right? The illusions the mask, the grins falling, like the truth being revealed type shit. And they was walking inside this building, and I decided to let me just follow them. But keep in mind, the entire time I am being, I don't want to say cautious. I'm just aware intuitively that there might be something more to this. But I'm just gonna follow them just in case. So I was following them downstairs to this like lower level of this building, and I remember they were ahead of me, a little bit ahead of me. So I remember going in after them and looking up. There was the same kid that I talked about in my penthouse, but they were just but this time the kid was just observing. So I don't know who the fuck that little bitch was, but um, so we was going downstairs, and I remember I was thinking the first time I see something out of order, I'm leaving. And literally, as soon as I started making because the going down the corridor is like a square. So the moment I went around that first little square, I was like, I saw the clothes. It was literally, the light skinned guy I told y'all about a second ago that was wearing all brown. I literally saw his clothes on the ground as if he was blipped out of existence. You know when Thanos blipped everybody in the Avengers Endgame movie? How he blimped everybody out of existence and all you saw was the clothes? That's exactly what it looked like. I saw it was like his clothes right there. As soon as I seen his clothes, I was like, yep, I'm out. And I ended up back on the higher, I guess, etheric plane. Um, because I ended up back in my bedroom. Usually, when I'm on the etheric plane, I always start off in my bedroom, typically. And it was day outside, but I was in my bed. But I was sitting up, but I couldn't fully get up because I was oscillating between two realms, two planes, right? I was trying to get out of the etheric plane, but I couldn't. I was like trying to get out of the etheric plane while also trying to at the same time get back into the physical plane. um it was like I was being pulled between both of those planes trying to leave, but then like not fully being able to leave. I remember saying out loud, I was like, I'm stuck between two planes. And while I was in the bed and my phone went off, so I had notification, but I remember throwing my phone. I think instinctively I knew that it wasn't my real phone and it was that person trying to find me. Oh, I also forgot before I even got there, me and this person, me and these two girls were smoking. Right? They were like, "You want to smoke a blunt with us?" I was like, I was like, they want me. I looked at the camera and I was like, they want me to smoke a blunt with them. And then I, smoked a blunt. And then I remember I tried to grab the blunt with my left hand because I wasn't I could. It felt like I wasn't holding the blunt properly in my right. And when I tried to grab it with my left hand, all I could see was like a as if my eyes was closed, but I can still see like light behind that, if that makes sense. And every time I would try to use my left hand to grab the blunt, I would get that image. I would only see that. But then every time I would just go back to use my right hand, I could see again, which was weird. I mean, every time I would smoke the blunt, it felt like I wasn't smoking it properly anyway. So my puffs were like weak compared to theirs, especially compared to theirs. But I remember we were on like they were sitting on like those balconies where it has like those New York balconies that have like the little metal staircases at each little apartment building. They were sitting on that, right? And I was like sitting on a wall like Spider Man. I wasn't. It was like a brick wall. I wasn't even sitting on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. I was sitting on the side of the wall like Spider Man would hang on the side of a building. And these two girls one was chilling, we was talking, and one of them went to the car and they came back in like a bathing suit. And as soon as they came back, a whole group, I would say it's about 10 to 15 people, came pulling up out of a car. One of them said, "We spending the night." I was like, "Oh." And me, I'm an introvert. So I thought it was just gonna be me and the two girls. But it was like 15 other people coming. Talking about this spending the night. I was like, yeah, I'm out. So I had left that too. So keep in mind, each one of those dreams, each one of those segments, I kept leaving. So, and then when I got back to my bedroom, like I told y'all a second ago, I was oscillating between two planes, and the phone went off, and I flipped it over. I was like, I threw it and I flipped it over because I was trying to focus because the phone was distracting me. I was trying to focus on getting out. So what happened was I allowed myself to fall back into the etheric plane. I ended up in this hotel room, not hotel room. I ended up imagine a hotel, but imagine there was this it was a hotel, then it was like this hotel floor, and in the middle of this hotel floor was me and this painting, and around me was nothing else other than four elevators at each corner of this hotel floor. And I remember laying on my back, and I remember because I was about to leave, because I landed on the hotel floor. Then I was about to leave right after, but then I saw this mosaic art picture, and then I sat there to look at it for a second, and it had this stained. It was stained glass. It was just dark blue stained glass background, and the picture was this person. It had a human body, but with an owl head, but it was on its body, and it was using its forearms to like kind of sit up, and then there was this other part where in front of the owl was this other humanoid looking creature, but it had a non-humanoid head, right? And it also had something kind of coming out of it, but I really couldn't make out what it was. But it was sitting on its knees. You know how Asian people, Japanese people sit down when they eat food on their knees? It was sitting like that, but it was looking down at the owl, and the owl was his beak. The penis of that man sitting on that humanoid person sitting on its legs, its knees. It had a penis, and the penis was in the mouth of the owl, and that was obviously the owl was represented by the sex spirits. I was represented by the person sitting on my knees with my penis in the owl's mouth, and that was just symbolizing the relationship that we had and what was going on. And as soon as I was really about to grasp it more and more, because I wanted to sit there for a minute to just observe it, which I did, but I wanted to sit longer. But as I was observing it longer, this person came through the elevator door from behind me where I couldn't see them, but they were like, "There you are. I was looking everywhere for you. You just keep leaving. What's going on?" And I remember, oh my God, here they go again. And I left. I was like, ugh, not you again. Because it's like, just leave me alone. I was trying to look at this picture. Like, you couldn't wait to speak. But the next time that happens, y'all, I am going to talk to them. I want to actually talk to them and let them know that we're family. And I want them to teach me stuff, and I want to teach them stuff too. And like, I'm okay with having that symbiotic relationship because I said out loud, not to them, but I was just, when I said when I masturbate, I dirty talk and I talk out loud and or in my head. And one of the things that I was saying was, um, I'm totally okay with y'all feeding off my sexual energy because it doesn't deplete me, right? Like I know I'm radiating a lot of potent energy and that's good. And as long as they're fed, that's okay. But don't want them to be like crawling on their knees and fiending for the energy. I want there to be like some type of like symbiotic relationship. I feed off them, they feed off me type thing, and we both thrive. I don't know. But yeah, that's just me. That's just where I'm at. But yeah, sorry, that was just a dream that I want to edit. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Sorry it took an hour. I'd never not make an hour fucking video. But yeah, I thought why separate it when I could just do it now? But yeah, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the video and my little dream journey. Um Sorry if I like stutter a lot. I have like a minor tongue tie and I get tongue tied very easily and I also stutter because I also talk too fast. Um yeah. And then I get a lot of thoughts at the same time that can't keep out of my mouth, etc., etc. So, yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I love y'all. But remember, going lower in density just means going more within yourself. So the void, Hakati, or source, the lower they go down, the lower we go down, we're just going more within ourselves. We are the physical representations of what it looks like when you go deeper within ourselves. And the irony is as humans, we go within ourselves. And if we were reflections of the divine, and the divine is a reflection of us, that means we are constantly going in ourselves. It never stops. We feed off ourselves, and that's true sorcery. That's what sorcery really is. But yeah, okay, we're done. I love y'all. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye, bitch.